Today, I finally want to enclose this and actually have some interior space. So that means we need to drain all of this water. Hi, I'm Splashes, and welcome to another episode of Zetacraft. Unfortunately, this is going to take a little bit, and in order to drain this, we need sponges. The good news is I have sponges. The bad news is they're in my old ender chest, which I don't have access to anymore because my account was hacked. Yay! So we need to go get some sponges, which means we need to raid some guardian farms or guardian temples, which means this time I'm going to use some water breathing potions and some invisibility potions, because last time I tried raiding one of these things earlier in the season for an episode that never wound up airing, I decided I could go without those. That was a mistake. Got some materials. Let's go ahead and make ourselves some potions. This is not going to be fast. Okay, see you soon. Okay, so I think I have everything. I've got myself a whole bunch of water breathing potions, I got myself some invisibility potions, some TNT, some slime, and some redstone to break in, and I also got myself a hode. So, yeah, we're gonna fly way far southwest and go ahead and try and get ourselves a whole bunch of sponges, but first I want to pick up my bed, because I'm gonna have to sleep soon, and if I don't, I'm gonna have a real bad time. Yes, sponges! Sponges! Oh, right. Oh no! I did not think this through! Ooh. TNT. Oh god, I didn't think this through! Sponges! Okay, I just need to do this like 10 more times. Okay, there's the first set of sponges. So I got 33. Ooh, that's actually quite a bit from that. Okay, there should be another Guardian Temple right around here somewhere. Okay, I forgot to record anything for that sponge room, but you know what? Now I have almost a stack of sponges, so I think I'm just going to call that good enough and head on back and get draining. Okay, so good news. I got myself a round of stack of sponges, but I need to drain all of this. This is quite a bit. I have sand in order to do that. But before I do that, we actually need to figure out what we're going to do in the middle here. Because otherwise, I'm going to have a real hard time draining this. And I think I'm just going to make a circle and just have it go down to the sand for now. I'll figure out what exactly we're going to do in the middle here later. But I think for now, just going down to the sand should be okay. Let's do that. Okay, so we now have ourselves a little circle thing. There we go. So we can drain that. Let's see how this looks from the outside. I'm curious how this looks from the outside, if it's something that's really noticeable. No, you can definitely see it, but you have to know that it's there. Come out here. Yeah, you can see it, but it's not very noticeable, so I think that's going to be perfectly fine. I think that'll work okay. I'm not sure what exactly I'm going to do with this center column here. Not really sure what I'm going to do with that. But let's go ahead. We have ourselves a whole bunch of sand, and well, let's drain all this. Yeah, let's get draining. Woohoo! So fun! Yay, draining. I have forgotten just how boring doing this is. Oh my goodness. And it's not even a shape that I can, like, do this easily and efficiently. I wonder if I can automate this a little bit. You know, if I just... Hold on, let me try something. Okay, if I just get a piston... Grab some pistons. There we go, pistons. And some observers. Yes, this will do. I can go ahead and make a little piston feed system. What's it called? Or just sort of like you do on a concrete converter, just blah 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 blah, and just dumps a bunch of stuff real quick. And maybe that'll be faster. Also more annoying because it'll make so much more noise. I put this here, and then that there, and then I come over here, put this here, and now... Oh. Okay, I need to stand closer. Hey, there we go. That works pretty okay. Oh, I need more sand. Okay, perfect. Yeah, this works fine, actually. And I forgot I have my block sounds real quiet, so it doesn't make a horrible noise. And I guess I just have to fill in this little bit at the end manually, but that's not too bad. You know, that's not too bad in the grand scheme. Okay, cool. That's better. That's a solution. Ah, I love redstone. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so I'm halfway through the first, replacing this end for the first petal. So I'm gonna go ahead and quickly drain this. Oh my goodness, I forgot how incredibly awful draining water is. It took me 4 hours to do this. Just one petal. I still have 3 more petals. Oh my god. At least I think I might have a bit of a better system now. But I don't know how to use flying machines to do this. I'm sure there's a way I could. I don't know how to do it. Oh my goodness. Why? Why? Okay. Well, guess on to the next one. Okay, number 2's done. That actually didn't take quite as long. So, 1, 2. This new technique seems to be working out okay. I guess let's go ahead and do the last 2. Well, my hatchlings, it is finally done. I have drained this whole area, and it was so awful. It was just the worst, and it's taken me so many hours to do, and I don't have a lot of hours to devote to Minecraft like I used to. And it's just, oh goodness. But look, it's clear, it's empty. Finally. You know, I forgot how awful it is to clear water out of something like this. It sucks. It sucks a lot. You know, the last several times I've built Guardian farms, I've built ones that you place a whole bunch of, or you just place rows of blocks down, you don't remove the water, you just remove the temple. And, you know, last episode, I was really worried that, oh no, I might not be able to do this. I would have to pre-drain the water. But in hindsight, that almost certainly would have been so much easier because I could have just built machines to clear out all the water for me and then just, you know, placed in some ice and just broke it, and, you know, the whole thing fills itself back in and done. Oh my goodness, that would have been so much easier. And I would have probably not lost, you know, 2 or 3 weeks doing this. But we finally have this thing. Now, I've gone, language, words, hard. Lizard's not good at speaking. I've already gone ahead and gathered myself up a bunch of glass, as well as some cyan dye, because I want to put a little cover on this thing. And I think I have an idea, but I'm not entirely certain how it's all going to look and how it's necessarily going to work out. So, with that, let's grab some of this concrete. Well, first I'm going to turn this glass cyan, and then let's grab some of this concrete and see if we can figure out how we're going to put a cap on this. Okay, so what I think I want to do is I think I want to have like a square in the center that'll go from like that corner there out to here, and then like a compass in the middle. But I think I want it to start over at that corner. It's gonna be the best way to do this. Is this at the same level? Yes, this is at the same level. Okay, then. Boop. Okay, so after seeing this a little bit, I'm not sure I like it, actually. I don't know, it doesn't feel right. It feels too flat and maybe too high contrast. I think this might need to be a bit lighter, maybe that would help. But it also just feels flat. It feels like I'm walking on pixel art rather than walking on like an actual design. Maybe instead of this being outlined, what if instead of this being outlined, I just extended the glass to oopsie. I extended the glass out to, you know, to here. Okay, I actually do think that does look better, but I still don't quite like it. It feels too flat. This is too flat. I've done a pattern like this before on one of my very old worlds. Let's go fly over there and see exactly what I did there, and see if that feels better than this. So this is the Minecraft Maniacs world from really long time ago now, like 2018. And this was something that I built in the center here. It was this build right here and the flamey thing right over there. And this is the original compass thing that I made. And admittedly the glass there isn't great, but this is a similar style, and I think I can probably do something similar, just with the glass and quartz. But I do think having this little bit of an outline and a slightly darker center, I think I'm going to try going with the andesite. Let's try the andesite. Okay, that is definitely better. And it's definitely better from the ground too, because this andesite it makes it look like it bounces up and down a little bit, even though it actually doesn't. I do think this needs to be smooth quartz, but I'm wondering if this is too small. You know, it's going to be covered by a big tower later on, but I feel like I might want this actually bigger. You know, so maybe instead of this being 2, it comes out to 3, and this comes out a little bit further. Let's try that on this last one here and see how I like that. Yeah, that's going to be a much bigger compass rose, and I actually like that this sticks out further into it, but it doesn't actually stick out too far, I don't think. Because I want to have some of these things start to come off of this, and I think that'll work okay, actually. Okay, I've done a little bit of rearranging and a little bit of playing around. I decided instead to go for snow, and I think the snow looks nice because it really pops out. But I also need to think about, I really need to place lights in here, because mobs are a problem. But I've also gone ahead and I've added in this nice pattern here, which extends out into the leaf a bit, and I think that'll look nice as the patterns extend from the leaf into the rest of it, or petal. I don't know, are these leaves or petals? I don't know what to call them. Leaves, petals? I don't know. But, you know, we'll go ahead. Let's finish 1/4 of this, and then we'll do the rest of it in a time lapse. That sounds good to me. That sounds good to me. Okay, so I actually did an 1/8 instead of 1/4 because it's more or less symmetrical. But yeah, I think it looks pretty okay actually. So I put this line around here, and then I've added in these little stripes here, and I think it looks good. But you can definitely see why I keep flipping back and forth between petal, leaf, and occasionally like lily pad, because it kind of looks like those 3 things just completely stuck together. But yeah, I think that looks okay. I think I like that. I mean, I'm still a little bit unsure about this tip here, with this coming directly into here, if I should slide this back one or shift it around. But I think I'm happy with this section up here. I'm not fully certain about this section back here. But if I want to change that, I think I can just do that later. So, well, I guess I have a lot of blocks to place. Let's go to story time. Okay, so for today's story time, I want to talk a little bit more about the project that I've been working on for the school. And so last time we were talking about this a few weeks ago. You know, I was trying to get these parts to fit together, and I couldn't quite get them to fit together correctly. Well, I've had so many more problems since then. So many more, and we're just gonna like briefly touch on them. But I was talking to another one of the lecturers, and they had made a comment of, hey, if you only need 500 watts, why don't you just, you know, use a kettle? Those things produce about 2,000 watts, and that should be no problem. And I sat there for a few moments like, but a kettle can't produce enough, or a kettle can't boil 100 milliliters of water in a second. And that's when I realized I had made a mistake. I know, believe it or not, I had made a mistake. I couldn't believe it. Could not believe that I, of all people, had made a mistake. But it was true. I made a mistake. And and it was a really bad one. In my math, I dropped kilowatts and just wrote watts at some point. So instead of it being 500 watts that I needed 500 kilowatts, which is a lot more power. That is so much more power. And yeah, there's no way I can get 500 kilowatts of power into one of these boilers. It's like, okay, fine, need a new design. So, new design, now we need to pump 2 milliliters of water a second instead of 100. A lot more manageable, but still a lot. So, like, okay, well, for this size, a centrifugal pump is just, it's just not possible. You know, we're so, like, centrifugal pumps are good for when you want to move lots and lots of fluid to big high pressures. And the pump specific speeds on these things were just so incredibly low that it just wasn't feasible. These things would have to spin at like hundreds of thousands of RPM and be super tiny and just not really possible to make. As well as having like single digit efficiencies. Like, okay, so positive displacement pump then. My backup plan was a screw pump, I can just make a small screw pump. But the screw pump is too small for me to print on my normal printer. Like, okay, that's fine, I can still make this work. So I got myself an SLA printer, which I've wanted to for a while anyway. Make the parts, they slide together beautifully. I cannot describe to you how beautiful the sliding together is, or how beautifully these parts slide in and out of each other. But there was a problem when I went to run the thing. You see, something we have to think about sometimes in these things is friction. And it is something that's briefly mentioned, but in all the times I've built pumps, I've never really had a problem with friction. Well, this resin, it apparently has a really, really high coefficient of friction. So instead of sliding like you want these to, these parts stick together. And I sort of forget that these parts are kind of sitting at like a 45-degree angle. So they actually exert quite a lot of force sideways, pushing the screws in and out of place. And it's something that's never really talked about in literature. And it meant that these parts were not sliding together and just kept snapping or breaking and would just grind down really fast. It was not a good solution. And it required huge amounts of power just to spin these things. It's like, okay, this is not going to work, but good news, I guess I have a paper about this I can write. So it's like, okay, well, I'll try and make a gear pump instead. You know, because the way to fix this would be a time screw pump, which just has gears anyways. So, you know, might as well make just a regular gear pump then. Okay, I can do that. Should be easy. It was not easy, but it was not terrible. So, design up a gear pump. The problem is I broke my main printer. I had to use the printer at school. And, you know, trying to get these things to line up and fit perfectly together was so hard, and they just didn't want to make themselves all really nice. So it was really, really difficult and challenging, and just, oh, goodness gracious. Just goodness gracious. But I do think I finally have a design which will work. I don't know if it'll produce enough pressure, though. But that's not great, because tomorrow is the day we present the project to the class. So, hopefully I can get a working pump in that time. I can make pumps, at least pump fluid. So the students will at least be able to make a pump curve, but I don't know if I can get that up to the 15 psi they need at the inlet pressure. We might not be able to integrate the whole thing together quite like we want. We'll have to see, but it's been a rough time. It's been a really rough time. So hopefully we'll get a solution, but yeah. Difficulties. We'll probably talk about that sometime in season 3, how this whole project went together. But it's been frustrating, and just as you struggle and fail over and over and over again, it can get really demotivating and really, really just exhausting to keep working on and keep trying to push through and solve the problems. It's just, it can be difficult, you know. Anyway, so I think for the rest of this, we'll just go ahead and use Lightmatica to place in all the blocks, or go to replacing all the blocks really easily and quickly, and then head back into the chat. Okay, see you. Okay, well, we have this thing all done and set up, but let's go take a look at this thing from the sky, and I'm really excited to see this. Yeah, I really like that. You know, I like this pattern here. I like how it branches off this. I actually really like this star thing in the middle, because that wasn't an idea I initially had. And I actually like how this sort of gets cut off here. I think that looks really cool. I'm not sure how this is going to work with the outer petals, which we'll do later, but I really like how this looks so far. Also, I'm a bit of a Trekkie, and my favorite Trek is DS9, and my favorite planet and species in Star Trek are the Bajorans. And this symbol very much reminds me of Bajor. This extended thing with this here, and they'd have a circle here, but instead of a triangle. But I don't know, it reminds me of Bajor, and, you know, I think that is incredibly fitting for me. And I think this looks really great, and I really love how it turned out. You know, it looks really, really nice. With that, I guess next time we should go ahead and actually get ourselves started on having a bit of an interior here. I'm going to have a storage system here, a super smelter, put in the villagers. Won't do that all in one episode, I hope. This episode was a lot of work, and, you know, having a couple shorter episodes would be pretty nice, but I think this area looks really fantastic. And actually, from the inside here, I think this little bit we added in the last episode really, really adds to this area. But with that, my hatchlings, I shall see you on the next episode of Zetacraft. Bye-bye!